Hello and welcome back to Anywhere But Here, episode 299. My name is Tom.
And my name's Ant.
And you can find us at abhpod.com, where if you scroll down a bit, there is an Amazon banner. If you click through the Amazon banner, you go to amazon.co.uk, where you can do your spending on Amazon, as you usually do for all the things that you buy, which is everything, because that's what Amazon does. And we get 5% of your total basket spend at the end. You don't pay any more, nothing else changes, except that you've clicked through our website first. But they know to send 5% of what you spend to us instead of into their offshore tax account. And that pays for us to keep on hosting the site for the year.
Yeah, something else that pays for us to keep on hosting, and it's a way we prefer because we get to give a little bit back to you as well, is by that Amazon banner, above it I think it is the Patreon banner. And for $1, £1, I don't know what your currency is, but for one of them you get extra content from us. You get After the Podcast podcasts, which are exclusive to our Patreon supporters. You get this episode without the intro, where we're trying to convince you to become a supporter, because you already are. We don't have to convince you anymore. You get Spoilercast the week we record them, the day we record them. You don't have to wait for down the line when we want a bit of a break, and we just put it out there. All of that audio content, you get a special RSS feed. You stick that in your podcast app, and you'll get a special support or artwork with a gold thumb next to it. We occasionally do YouTube content as well, sometimes, and you get that a little bit earlier than it goes out publicly. Also, this stuff, like I say, it's a subscription. You pay that, you get it. We don't, do extra lewd photo sets and ask you to give us more money to get access to those lewd photo sets. This isn't OnlyFans, this is Patreon.
Although, no.
Nobody wants that.
You can find us for all kinds of things.
Yeah, I mean, you could pay us extra not to put those out if you want.
You can find us on the social media platforms. We're on Twitter at ABH Pod, we're on Facebook.com/ABH Pod, or we're on YouTube.com/ABH Podcast.
Yes, you can also email us, abhpod@gmail.com. There is no OnlyFans site, as I've just said.
Yet.
Yeah, on this episode, we talk about music.
We talk about film.
Strangely, a lot about football.
Mm-hmm. But first, some of the reasons that I wasn't here last time.
Enjoy. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm okay. Tired. Yeah. Burnt out, actually. Really, really burnt out. The last few weeks has been
pretty full on for you, isn't it? I mean, yeah, even practice the other night, you were sort of there was a point of me, and you even said it at the end. I was like, it feels like he's not gonna stick around. It feels like he wants to go home. There was
a point at which I thought that might happen. It was almost like PTSD, actually.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, when it's like that, sometimes it's better just to sort of cut your losses and just, because a practice where you're not in it and you're feeling shit, it's just it's not going to be productive. Thankfully you stuck it out, and it was really productive. I mean, the thing is, I wanted to play other songs, like I had a weekend of recording with the other band, and it was the same 10 songs over and over and over and over and over and over again. That's recording is. I was desperate to play different things, and it just wasn't working for the beginning part, because I got I still had that kind of blocked mentality, I guess. And it's, again, I mean, to put it into context, and you said it the other night as well, it's a song that we wrote, that we played hundreds of times, and we were all, and it wasn't just you, we were all stood there what are the lyrics? That's
what
it. Are the lyrics, at least to this song?
It wasn't just me.
It's just this mental block. What's going on? I can't figure it out. But
very bizarre. But so I mean, the further away I'm getting from last weekend, the more fondly I think of it and the more I'm looking forward to seeing the results of the recording. But it was the first time I'd recorded since we did in 2010, so it's been over 10 years.
Yeah.
And rather than do it in the way we did, which was record all the bits separately, we recorded live as a band with no vocals, which obviously puts pressure on everyone to play perfectly, all four people playing perfectly.
Because I think when we recorded the last album we did, I think we did all play together, but we only recorded the drums and the bass.
That's right.
Or was it just
not
the
even
drums?
the bass.
It was just the drums, wasn't it?
Yeah. Although the bass is always DI'd, so you can take recordings from wherever.
Yeah, and then obviously we layered everything on top of that, but we sort of played the song, so we had the drums down, and then we built on that. But you guys are just like recorded everything.
Yeah, I think it was to get as much done as possible, really. But you end up getting into loops of messing up the same phrase because you get halfway through a song and someone makes a bum note or misses a hi-hat or a crash or something. And then that person is then like, fuck, I made the mistake. And then
there's no fixing it in post.
No, there's not. The bass, it turns out you can because you're DI'd. So as long as if you stop playing but pick up and no one drops out of rhythm or anything, like the bass can be dropped back in, which was a godsend at one point. It just like there was a point during one of the songs switches from like a kind of 4/4 to a kind of scarry offbeat thing.
Oof.
And I've always had a bit of a problem with it, but I didn't realize how much of a problem that I had with it. And like we'd practice like a week beforehand the playing the songs without the lyrics, because we were like, we should probably do that because then we won't be totally thrown off by not having those vocal cues to go into the next part. But there was a bit where I was playing through the riff and getting to the same point every time and making a mistake. And I got so into my head that I kind of forgot how to play the bass. Like I was watching my fingers on the fretboard and being like, I don't know what to do next. And it was happening out of muscle memory. But then I was like, right, I've focused so much on that bit that I can't now remember how to get back into the next bit.
Yeah.
And my chest got tight and my stomach knotted up. And I had to go for a walk and chill out, do some breathing exercises.
You do get in your own head. Like generally, everyone does, but like you do beat yourself up a lot.
But equally it was like a hyper stressful situation as well.
Sure.
Like
that's why
both me and
was bigger than usual. Yeah,
because you're not just because like when I went back and did a couple of overdubs, just dropping the bass in at the points where I'd stopped playing or whatever.
Yeah.
I found that so much easier because you don't have the stress of three other guys playing the song at the same time. And if I made a mistake when I'm just playing on my own, doesn't matter. I just go back to the bit that I need to do and do it again, you know.
But when you've got everyone else, you sort of like everyone. You've got everyone else is relying on you to do your bit, so they don't have to.
While
do their
also,
bit
exactly,
But equally, they're doing the same thing. They've got the same thing as well. But
absolutely, they are.
But it's what's in you that is sort of doing it
but
to you.
To be fair, you know, out of the four of us, three of us each had our own separate meltdowns at various points during the day,
which is fun, which makes everything better.
Which kind of you're like, well, and you know, even up to that point, it wasn't just me making mistakes or whatever. But it wasn't. And then like the second day was vocals day basically, and guitar overdubs. So we got all those done. And because I had more backing vocals than anyone else, I decided I elected to go last. And then the football happened before we got round to recording my bits. So I had to go back in on Wednesday. And do my vocals.
Did you have the support with the other guys there as well, or did you just go on your own?
Paul came down And Ian did show up for a bit. So yeah, like I wanted some, especially Paul, there for a bit of kind of
plus it's a group effort, so you sort of, like, you want their opinions on choices you're making as well, because everyone's got to be happy with it. So is the mentality behind all of you recording at the same time, is that just so you've got that, I imagine you've got that live sound, like you're playing live, so it doesn't sound, so it's like well produced, but you've got the energy of playing live, so like it's weird.
It does. I think it comes across.
For sure. Definitely. It makes a difference when you do that. I mean, like the first CD we recorded, Take Shortcuts, in like the same studio we recorded our other one. We did that. Like we literally just played for a couple of hours, took it home, and then cut it. Like, so we've got all of those bits. It's complete live recording. Yeah, but it sounds. So we were also
recording vocals as well, weren't we?
At the same time, it was just we just played like a gig, so to speak, and we played a lot of songs 2 or 3 times, and we just picked the best take. But like you're saying, although it's live, it sounds like it's recorded in the studio. Yeah, but it's got a different sound.
It's got an energy. Yeah, definitely, and it comes across. Like the thing is, the more you go back into the control room and listen to the bits going down, the more you're hearing it. And it just sounds bigger and bigger. So I suppose, this is Swamp Stomper, the band, by the way.
We haven't actually.
I just realised that. But no, I mean, like Kev, for example, you know, the guitarist from God.
Yes.
Guy.
Yeah.
He's so zen. It's unreal. Like he was like, most of the way through, he was like, I'm really enjoying this. It's great. Yeah. And like the three of the rest of us are like, oh my God, this is awful. Like really not enjoying it at all. But and then the second day when he was doing guitar overdubs, they were just like, oh, you know, the end of this song could do with a solo-y bit, like a widdly solo over the end of it. And he was like, what, like this? It's like fucking hell. Like just so if you know pentatonics and stuff, you know how to make
but I mean, he like him saying, "Oh, really enjoy this." He's the techie guy, isn't he? Mm-hmm. Like when I've seen you play with God, like all of that equipment, that's his. Yeah, like, the sound, like he's the techie guy, so he seems like the sort of guy who would just enjoy the whole nature of putting things together, and and he's a very, very good guitarist as well. Like, so it's just one of those things, isn't it? Like when you see him playing in like God, like it's just all these bits
he doesn't look
with nothing.
Someone once called him unremarkable once, and it was meant as a compliment because he stands there and he makes the noise of someone who should be thrashing around and like an Eddie Van Halen type person.
Unremarkable, which makes it even more remarkable.
Precisely that, but he got really offended by it because he took it the wrong way. You
would if someone calls you unremarkable, but we understand what they mean. Because in his head it's like, it seems like not a lot of effort, but this is years and years and years of like meticulous practice. It's not easy. It wasn't easy to get to this point. Like,
no, it's someone who has played for years and years and years, and also knows every area of the neck and what they do. You know, he knows the insides and outsides. He's redone all the electrics on everything. He understands how the instrument works on a fundamental level. You know,
which means when you're watching him play, you're just like, what?
Like, it was like the three of us in the control room with the engineer, when he was just like, oh yeah, I'll just, he did this like face melting solo over the end, and he was like, I think there's a better one in me. And the engineer was always, the engineer's like, yeah, I'm sure you got a better one and you go for it. But I didn't think that I thought Eddie Van Halen had died.
And he's like pressing the button to talk into his studio. No, I think you've probably definitely got a better one in there. Takes his finger off the talk mic. Goes, what the fuck?
Basically we all kind of looked around at each other completely gobsmacked. And we're like, fucking hell, this guy is so good. But it was, looking back at it was a really good fun time. But
the moment, it's so stressful.
The reason that we then played together on the Monday night is because that practice session should have been for that band, and we knew that we were going to like have an absolute nightmare. There was no point at all and I'm glad. But yeah, we stuck with it, and we bashed out a couple of new songs, didn't we? So
yeah, sounding really good. A couple
of new
as
versions.
Well. It always. I don't know why I'm still surprised. 'Cause I still think of us as like we're a pop punk band. We don't know what we're doing, but then I don't know the reason. I think we work so well together. Like we just gel. Like we just get each other, and we work really well together. And every time we come out, I'm like, "Fuck it, how?" Like,
yeah, I mean,
we're not playing these fucking Eddie Van Halen solos and like this really complicated stuff. But we're like, "Oh, let's try this song. How does it go?" Okay, cool. And then we play it, and it's like, and it works.
Yeah.
We're like, cool.
Yeah.
Got it.
There's like a natural synergy, isn't there? You know, and I suppose that comes from knowing each other for so long. And
it's the fact that we played together for years. It's that meticulous
on and off.
Yeah. But the whole thing is like we put in the time years ago, which is why it's so natural and comfortable for us now.
But even the fact that like one of the songs we changed the key or not the key, but like the octave that it's being played in.
Well, yeah, no, it is the key. So the version that Corky printed off for us was, I think that was the live version that he printed off.
Yeah.
But what we're playing it in the original key.
If you the original key is actually E.
Not the original.
Yeah.
The original recording of the cover that we're doing a version of.
Oh no, because I think the
I don't know.
The cover that we're working off, the bass is definitely at the lower E.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And now I'm playing it at the kind of middle. Yeah, but it works. Again, like I say,
it works for us.
Yeah,
makes it easier to play, I think, as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it sounds great. Like, and not, please don't think we're blowing our own trumpets. Like, it's not a very difficult song to play. It's not, what we're doing isn't very difficult. It's more how quickly we pick it up and work together. And in the same vein as it not being a very difficult song to play, it's really, really fun. And it's one that when people hear it, they will enjoy it. Like, it's one that will get everyone singing. Yeah, everyone knows it, which I find out isn't actually true.
No, everyone knows about two.
No. When I mentioned it, I was talking to people at work on the Microsoft Teams, and I said, "Oh, we're playing this song."
Yeah,
and one of the guys goes, "What's that?" I'm like, "Really? You don't know it?" But then I was,
how old is this person?
He's like 24.
Yeah. This is why we need to bring in a few kind of.
But then there's a 21, 22-year-old who doesn't know it. It's just one of those things.
I think it's always the way, isn't it? Like, some people are into music and some people like what they hear on the radio. And there is a distinction.
Yeah. But to be fair, this guy loves his music. It's just not his type of music. But he listened to it and was like, "Oh, this is wicked." I'm like, yes, it is. That's why we're playing it. It's good fun. The two songs that we got down, very different as well.
Like very different. Couldn't be more different.
Yeah. But yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I think like the comparison would be like Roy Orbison versus NoFX. Sort of.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or not? No, I don't know.
Anyway, close enough.
Yeah, close enough. But you know what I mean? It's one of those things.
Yeah,
possibly more Goldfinger, I would say. I don't know why I've been so secretive about it either. It's funny.
No, yeah.
But yeah, so that kind of coupled, like, so obviously we opened this with you saying that you're burnt out, and then just went off on a rant. So yeah, it's because of the recording, because of practice, because of work. And among other things, had a pretty frantic couple of weeks. And
it's been another tough one. So yeah, like the reason that I wasn't here 2 weeks ago is because my nan died, which is the last of my grandparents now. And the second one within 2 months and the third one within a year and a half.
Yeah, it's
relentless.
Yeah.
Fucking
yeah, it is one of it's like it all happens at once, didn't it? And which doesn't seem fair at all.
No.
And it's always I don't know what the word, surreal feeling when it's like you don't have any grandparents anymore. It's sort of like a surreal thing. It's like there is no head of the family. It's now we've got to try and find a new head of the family, sort of thing. It's odd. Yeah.
I mean, there's still she's still got 3 brothers alive, so there is still that generation there.
But it's not a direct.
But it's not direct to me.
Yeah. It's not that direct lineage sort of thing. I mean, so like I don't have any grandparents, but my nan's got like a couple of sisters and a brother still around. To be fair, and that's the only. So like it's literally just from one side of the family, but we don't really see them very often.
Yeah, same here.
Despite the fact they're in Maidstone, like
right,
we could see them a lot, but like we've always been sort of separate from that side of the family. Not that we don't get on with them; like they're a lovely bunch, but the only reason we really saw them as much as we did was because of my nan. But when she passed, we saw them for a couple of sort of 6 months or a year after, and then after that, like we haven't really seen them. So. Yeah, we do have those elders in the family, but for direct lineage from me, there is no head. Like, it's a bit odd. It's very, very weird.
It's been a while for you, hasn't it?
Yeah. So I mean, it's because obviously once I got married to Liz, like I then had new sort of grandparents, that generation, direct lineage in that sense. So we had Liz's granddad who passed away just before the COVID shit kicked off. So sort of like early last year. Was it December? I feel shit. I never remember when people die, but that's not a date I want to remember.
No, exactly.
If you get what I mean? Like it's not. Everyone's like knows when someone died. I'm like, nah, I don't want to remember.
I don't keep that in my head either.
No.
If I'm honest with you, like even people that I massively care about, I just would rather not remember that date.
yeah. I'm one of those people as well. So. Like I know it was sort of like right before COVID kicked off because we were like, thank God, because like he was getting so frail. It's like there's no way he would have survived it anyway.
Yeah, he passed away at the same time as my grandma, right? Which was
I think it would have
although
been.
maybe just before. My grandma passed in February. The only reason I know that is because I was in Ireland because it was my birthday.
Yes. Brilliant. Well, so I know. It was before any of the lockdowns because we were able to go to his funeral.
Yeah.
So we were quite lucky in that sense. So I suppose that before that it would have been my dad's mum who was a year or two before that. So it's been a couple of years now, but it's still weird. Like I know, like when you said. That like when you text us and said it was the last of your grandparents, I was like, oh, shit, I don't have any grandparents. Like it was just that weird.
Yeah, that
it's
kind
just
of
so surreal. It is surreal. Like they've always been there. So there's always been someone of that generation. It's bizarre. But thinking back to it, it's like I don't remember a time I had any great grandparents.
Oh, really? See, one of my nan's mum, she lived until she was 96 or 97. So that was mid to late 90s. She was kind of around the same age as the Queen mum.
So
I had the one.
Yeah, and look, I don't remember great. I know when I was young there was one.
Yeah.
But I don't remember. Like, I think she passed away quite early. I'm pretty sure she did anyway. I'm probably remembering this all wrong. Dad's going to text me.
Well, the thing about memory is unreliable anyway.
Well, of course it is, yeah. But Chloe, bar my dad's dad, Chloe had a full set of great grandparents.
Yeah.
Like she had 3 great grandparents growing up. And which like I say, to me, I don't remember any of them. So that means that my parents lost their grandparents at quite a young age.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I feel like we're lucky to have had our grandparents for as long as we did.
Definitely.
But it still seems surreal that we don't have him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like,
I know.
I don't know.
Even after, like, I think it's been, is it 2007? So what, nearly 15 years since my granddad passed. I still sometimes find myself thinking, it'd be great to go for a drink on a Sunday lunchtime or something with him.
Yeah, because that's something you used to do, isn't it?
Yeah. Just meet up and have a couple of pints and go back to theirs for a meal.
I do remember that when you used to do that, to be
the old house at home.
Yeah, the old house at home, and then you pop around theirs for a roast.
Yeah.
Which
is also what my uncle did as well all the time. Yeah. Like, it was just one of those weird familial things that used to happen. Like, sometimes it would be all three of us.
Yeah, it's somewhere you knew that your granddad would be, isn't it? Just pop in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You knew exactly what times he'd be there. If he wasn't there, he was in the betting shop.
Yeah. It's behind the bar. No, he's just pop down the road. He'll be back in a minute. Like, but no, it's. I think it's one of those sort of like older generation things, wasn't it? That sort of had that routine. Yeah. Like it's. Yeah. But yeah,
it's the way it is, and it's very sad, but
there is
life, isn't it?
Yeah, and and I know we like obviously we're not going to get into details of it because it's just wrong. But like when we were texting each other, sometimes it is a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, certainly. It's just the fact of the matter is it was much sooner and quicker than we were expecting.
Yeah.
It came out of the blue rather than the slow deterioration that we expected. So, which in a way, absolutely, it's much better that way.
It's much better, but it's that shock. You've still got that shock, like you didn't have time to prepare yourselves.
Yeah,
not that you could ever prepare yourselves for that.
No, that was another part of the recording thing the other week. I found myself getting into my head, and then I remember thinking at one point, like, "What the fuck am I doing here? My nan just died. Like, why am I doing this? Like, what are you doing this for?" Like it just.
But it's sort of sometimes it's that you need that.
Yeah, distraction.
Yeah. Up until the point when you were getting pissed off, it was fine.
Yeah.
But it's just because you were so pissed off with yourself. You're like, what else have I done wrong? Like,
what else is going on that I can berate myself for?
Don't we love it? Don't we love being human? I agree. Fucking hell.
But no, I really enjoyed listening back to the episode you did with Andrew last week.
It was good fun actually. Yeah, it was nice, nice chat. Like I'm not used to almost like hosting, and like I know if I ever get to a wall, I can rely on you to pick it up. And it's like, whereas Andrew, obviously not being a host of the show, sort of like probably doesn't feel like he can step in and sort of like pick up. So when the thread drops, I just go, and then that's why it ended like it did. I'm like, well, let's call it. We'll call it there then. Sort of like I sort of panicked and was like, let's end it. I did like once we start recording, I was like, sorry, that was so abrupt. I don't know what happened. It's that panic moment. Tom's not here to pick it up.
The problem being is that sometimes, like, I think we have a tendency to be like, right, that was kind of a natural finish, and then we kind of shoehorn something else in. And I think sometimes that doesn't do us any particular favors. So
so it was kind of a natural ending and just fucking jammed a bar in there. It was just like, right, that's it, we're done.
Pulled the handbrake.
Right, out, we're done. It was weird. No, but I on the whole, I did really enjoy recording with Andrew. Like we always do. And I know we mentioned on that episode, or it might have been the chat we had afterwards about getting Andrew to do a spoilercast with us for Loki. But he's working this weekend, so we haven't been able to do. We're not going to be able to do that. So we are going to pick up with Andrew at some point, and we'll just chuck it out there on the supporter feed, not as part of like after the podcast. We'll just record and chuck it straight out. Whether it's on a weekend or not, but we'll definitely do it because there's some stuff to talk about.
There is a lot, I think. And from the messages we've been getting from Andrew as well, there's a lot more that maybe you and I haven't considered as well.
Yeah. Usually the case.
Yeah.
Because Andrew, the one who doesn't know the backstory, doesn't know the Marvel stuff, knows a hell of a lot more than us still.
Creates his own sometimes.
Which is great. Love it. Yeah. How weird was it after we recorded that episode, though, and he was speaking about the 173 stuff? Like,
I know.
In the 2 or 3 days after that, it was just like, and there's this that I saw today, and there's this that I saw today. I just kept posting that. Even in Loki, there was a 173.
On the side of the ship.
Yeah, which is a famous story about a ship that just disappeared.
Yeah.
And it just happened.
Well,
part of its number was 173, which is like, what?
Yeah.
And then that's because that was the upcoming episode of Loki after we recorded. It was in the trailer for that Loki. And it was like, oh yeah, by the way, and this coming up in Loki. What? What?
Yeah.
So
and then I did some reading into the auspiciousness of certain numbers.
Yeah.
And 1, 7, and 3 are auspicious numbers in mythology and folklore. Yeah. Going back a ways. So like 1 is unity, obviously. There's there's a lot around 1, but also 3 is like the Trinity and various things like that, and the sun, the moon, and there's so much, there's so many different things. And 7, I can't remember exactly what I put in there now,
but 7 is always like considered a lucky number anyway. Like it has
there are various reasons for that over time and in different cultures, but it's the whole kind of story tradition, the kind of the passed on stories that our ancestors told each other, and there are always these things that crop up. I mean, even when you look back at the religious texts, you've always got like an ark and a kind of flood example. And various stories overlap.
Just retellings of the same story as such, retellings of the same story, different
adaptations
or different viewpoints of historical events. Depending on where you sit on that. Adaptations, I suppose. But it's always the way, and like we say, with it's tropes, isn't it? As well, like you get that in film and stuff. There's lots of tropes, reused stories. Like every story has been told. Oh God, you're frozen.
No, I haven't.
Oh,
I was just looking back.
Completely still. If you're watching this video, patrons, you tell me if you thought Tom had frozen then. That was weird. I
just have the ability to stay completely still.
I stay still when I see you. You're Drax.
I didn't write anything down, and then I'd have to go into the link. I can't be bothered.
Okay, there's, what was I saying? Different tropes. Like every story has been told. It's just there's different versions of it. Romeo and Juliet type stories. There's always those stories. It got retold as Nomeo and Juliet, for instance. Sorry.
The most modern and best retelling.
Yeah. Have you seen it though? It is really good.
It is, yeah. Speaking of things, have you seen Black Widow yet? Oh, okay then. No Spoilercast this week, guys.
I'm sorry. I know.
Just imagine that it would have been something that you found time to see.
It's something I really, really want to see. The thing is, I want to go to the cinema to watch it.
Yeah.
However, I have got a cinema at home now.
And Disney Plus, which is where
Disney Plus. 20 quid. It's just that weird thing. I would spend more going to the cinema. So I don't want to spend it here. Why? It doesn't make sense.
Because you're paying 20 quid, but to get you, Liz, and Chloe in, and then drinks and popcorn and whatever, would probably cost the best part of 60 quid or 50 quid, right? So, but for some reason, there's this weird mental block about but Disney Plus is free, except it's not. It's
I already pay a subscription, so why would I pay more? But it's that weird thing as well, because you think if you pay all that best part of 60 quid to go to the cinema to watch it, you're going to watch it once. Disney Plus, you've got it for a couple of days. You could watch it more than once. So it's actually much better value for money. Haven't done it though. No. Yeah, it's really I do really, really want to watch it, but I'm really apprehensive now because I've seen such mixed takes on it. The general consensus I get from it is like, yeah, it's a fine film.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that's kind of mid-tier. It's not Thor: The Dark World, or it's kind of Doctor Strange. You know,
I think it's come at completely the wrong time because Black Widow has had her run.
Yeah,
and then you've got this. It's like watching Solo. Like, there's no real need for it, but we're going to tell the story anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
and we're going to fill it up with like actors that you like, just to make it that, you know.
Yeah,
and it's like
it fills in the blank basically.
I'll watch anything with Florence Pugh in.
She's amazing in it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt it at all.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen Fighting with My Family as well, right?
I love it, mate. I love it. She's great. But
yeah, it kind of tells the story of between Civil War.
Oh, okay.
And Infinity War, I guess, because she didn't really show up in any of the films between those films, and this is why.
So this isn't
it's not a really old.
We still don't know what happened is it Budapest?
There's a little bit more about that, but no. Like you don't see it.
Yeah. Was it
Budapest? You hear a little bit more. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Her and Hawkeye, yeah.
You hear about it a bit more, but you don't see
it's more
it.
of a her Budapest, eh?
Yeah, basically.
It's a bit more of that.
They end up there.
But you still don't know.
But that's where you get the stories about being there previously, and
you learn a little bit more, but it's just like nothing. Like, the writers don't actually know what happened in Budapest. It's just a thing that they used to tie those two together. Let's be honest.
But this is going to be the first. This is the first film that throws forward to a TV series rather than another film.
Oh, really?
Yes. You know, the end credit scenes are always setting up the next film or a film.
Yeah.
This one links into a TV series.
Okay. Apart from Loki, which for another TV series.
Yeah.
I love that though. That's just sort of like, there's no sort of like nod. Hey, here, wonder what this is about. It's like, no, we're doing another series.
Yeah, that was bizarre because I thought they were all one and done type deals. I didn't realize that there was going to be more, which, you know, I'm pleased about. And
more needs to be done with Loki for sure.
Yeah, we'll get into that on the Spoilercast, I think.
Yeah, it's so annoying. It's fine.
Yeah, it's annoying is probably the right word.
Yeah, it's fine. But I think because we were expecting, like, just quick, because like with the other three, it was kind of like, this is a story encapsulated, boom. So with this, we were expecting an encapsulated story, and it's not.
Maybe, yeah.
Which is why it's so frustrating. But
yeah,
still. One thing I did watch for the first time, talking like comic book movies that I haven't watched. Last night we watched Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I'd never seen it.
Oh,
I was so confused for a very long time.
I can imagine.
I knew it was a comic book film, but I didn't quite realize how much. Like, it was just so bizarre. But I think I really liked it.
That is the overwhelming consensus. I mean, I think Joe and I went to see it with, I think, Corky and Stuart. Yeah. So I'm surprised you weren't there.
No. I definitely hadn't seen it before.
When it came out, and I remember coming away being like, don't know. And I've never gone back to reappraise it.
Yeah, because it's so weird, because it starts as like a straight up sort of like rom-com stoner sort of, and then the first battle of the bands, a guy comes crashing through the scene and they start having a fight, and I'm like,
yeah, hold on,
what is this?
Yeah,
like, because at first I thought, oh, it's, you know, it's all in his head sort of. No, it's
happening. Not. It's in everyone the real world. What? Yeah, it was the first thing that I'd seen of Edgar Wright's that I didn't instantly take to.
It's very of its time.
Yes. Yeah.
Very much. So I think I like it. I'm not sure.
I would probably like it better if I went back to see it now.
Because now you know what you're expecting.
Yeah. Yeah, perhaps. It's an odd one. But the thing is, it was like when it came out, I don't think it did very well at the box office, and critics didn't really like it. And therefore not very many people saw it, but it's done much better business and has got a kind of more of a cult following these days.
It's definitely one. And like I say, very of its time. There were so many films out at that time that live on the cult following, like Juno, Knocked Up, things like that. Like, although Knocked Up, I think, was probably more of a commercial success, but it's, I think it has a cult following anyway. Like, I love that film. But there's a lot of films around that time that sort of like did okay at the cinema, but people do really, really, really like them.
Yeah.
And that was definitely a product of like the early to mid 2000s, wasn't it? Like there was a lot of films that were a bit like
quirky.
Sure. Yeah. Basically anything with Ellen Page and him,
Michael Cera,
Ellen Page, anything with Seth Rogen, like, you know, that sort of era of films was a bit like artsy. Zach Braff, anything with Zach Braff, Garden State, incredible film.
It was a bit before it, wasn't it? But
incredible film. Not many people know it, but
loads
of people love it.
It was one of those ones that not a lot of people got, but the people that got it really got it. But I've heard it doesn't hold up quite as well. I
absolutely loved it.
I enjoyed it as well. But
I mean, the image everyone has when they think of Garden State is just him in that shirt that matches the wallpaper. Like, that's what everyone thinks when they think of Garden State. Bizarre.
No, like out of that time, kind of Juno and Knocked Up were the two that I really, really got into.
Yeah, Juno. Like the other thing with films of that era as well is the soundtracks. Yeah, absolutely incredible.
That Juno soundtrack is insane.
Yeah,
so good.
Yeah, really good film. I absolutely love it. We watched that, and on the projector we watched Split as well.
Oh yeah, have I seen Split?
It's the second one, isn't it?
Yeah. What was the first one?
Unbroken.
Oh right,
Unbreakable. Sorry.
Yeah,
Unbroken is the other one. That's the
I've not seen Split. I've seen the one that ties them all together.
Oh, Glass.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. I highly recommend Split.
Yeah. I don't know why I haven't seen it. It just passed me by.
He is absolutely incredible in it.
James McAvoy.
Yeah, I mean he's a good actor, but particularly in this film, I was watching. I'm like, oh, he's an actor. like he's a proper actor. Like he's so clever what he does. It's really, really good film. But it's just so annoying. Like it does that thing where it's kind of like, just in case you didn't know, like right at the end, they're like, oh, it's like that story about that guy, like with superpowers. What was his name again? Bruce Willis, like, Mr. Glass, like in the background, and walks on, and you're like, oh man, what?
Oh, really? Is it that?
It just does that, and it's like, hey.
Yeah.
Just in case you didn't know. This is so weird.
Because it's such a strange thing, because I don't think it was ever supposed to be a direct sequel to it, and then all of a sudden he had the idea to do it and then went with it.
And that's the thing, it's like nothing about it. There's nothing other than that very, very last line in the film. Like nothing about it. It's not a sequel. It's just a story in the same universe. Like there's no crossover other than that. Not that I remember Unbreakable that much, but there's just that. And it's just that last bit, that Mr. Glass. I mean, fuck off. It's so it's just
I went to see Glass though, and like that's an odd film because it's like
I've heard it's not as good as
I've heard that as well.
To be.
Yeah. Like there's this major threat that is, you know, the goal of the villain, and it never really kind of comes to fruition. And then you're left thinking, like, there's parts of it where you're like, are these three people just kind of delusional?
So James McAvoy's in Glass as well, is he?
Yeah.
And he plays the same characters. Yeah. So he probably, what he pulls off in Split, he probably does the same in Glass, where he just plays all of these different voices, and it's just amazing to watch. It is like a masterclass. Like I just feel like he's so believable as each of those characters. It's so weird, but yeah. So I assume it's him.
Samuel L. Jackson, Sam Jackson, yeah. And they're all being tested at a mental asylum, basically, and they're all in the same building.
So I'm assuming then Bruce Willis has watched what's going on the TV, makes contact with James McAvoy, brings them all together as like a fucking I would imagine now, basing it on that. But it's either way, it's Split. I definitely recommend it. I'm gonna have to watch.
I don't, like I say, I don't know what it's worth. It's worth a watch, but I wasn't entirely convinced by it. But like the individual elements, like I really enjoyed Unbreakable back in the day, and I'm sure I'll enjoy Split as well. But yeah, like it was just a bit like you kind of like so kind of like things are happening, but it's not really. Is it in their minds? No, it's not, because they're actually doing like things that are unbelievable.
Yeah.
Odd.
Yeah,
worth a watch just to finish off the trilogy, I think.
It's. I mean, at one point yesterday, actually, before we decided to watch Scott Pilgrim, before we went and laid in the garden, like we were sat on the sofa, and then Liz just flicked over and stopped on a film. It was like, is this Zack Snyder's Justice League? You don't just casually put on Zack. And she was like, no, just because there's nothing else on. I went, but this is 4 hours long.
It's a long time.
You don't just casually put on Zack Snyder's Justice League. Why was it just on TV?
Was it?
Yeah, it was just on like one of the Sky channels. Liz just flicked over and stopped it. I'm like, who just puts that on in the middle of the day? Like, that's a real commitment, that film. Like, why is it just on? That was
because what is it, like 4 hours or something, isn't it?
4, just over 4, I think, maybe 4.5 or 4:10 or something weird. Like it's long, really long.
Well, it's supposed to be split into 3, really, isn't it?
There are 3. Is it 3? I think it's 3. Yeah, there's definitely 3 parts of it, and I mean, it's good. Like, I would imagine you still haven't made time to watch it.
No.
It's better than Justice League. It's better than the original telling of it, but I'm not watching it again.
Yeah, like you say, it's a commitment, isn't it?
I liked it.
Completionists.
I liked it, but I mean, I say I won't watch it again. I might, but not for a very long time when I've got nothing else that needs to be done. Yeah.
When all the other lists are depleted.
It's long. I say that you don't just casually stick Justice League on, but then I will sit there and watch like a season of telly.
This is it, isn't it? Like it depends. It's a strange thing to kind of think about, because like we've quite often sat there of an evening scrolling through Netflix or through like the list of stuff that we've just recorded. Yeah. Because we like to record that. And I saw that. Yeah. We don't think twice about sitting down and watching 3 or 4 episodes of a TV series all in one go.
Yeah. But I think I imagine that's a psychological thing, because it doesn't feel like as much of a commitment, because you can turn it off after 1 or 2. Whereas with the film, it's like you need to watch the whole film. Whereas with the TV series, if you get tired, you can. I will finish this one and we'll go to bed. Like there's not that much of a commitment. I don't think. We're watching season 4 of Atypical at the minute.
All right.
Which is a great series. I really like it. It's got that quirky sort of, like, you know, that 2000s feel we were talking about. It's got, although it's new, it's got one of those. It's got that feel about it. Yeah, I don't know. I
couldn't tell you what we're watching at the moment. I know that any kind of chance that I get a little bit of downtime, I'm still working my way through Star Trek. Still.
There's a lot of it.
Yeah. Well, I was watching Loki on my own until Joe got to learn that there was a Loki TV show. And I think I got through 2 or 3 episodes before that. And so we've watched that. So I've rewatched.
Is it because you like Loki or Tom Hiddleston, or both?
Probably a bit of both, but mainly Tom Hiddleston, I think.
Yeah. He's great.
Yeah, he is. But yeah, I think I've decided to stick The Walking Dead into my watch list just because it's on that Stars program, isn't it, on Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Just because I kind of fancied watching it the first time round, but I know that people are like, it's just, it goes on and on and on and on and on.
I managed 4 series, and like, don't get me wrong, like, it's incredible. Like, it's the first 3 seasons are incredible. I got to the 4th, and I'm like, yeah.
Does it get repetitive? Is that what it is? Or
for me, it did. Yeah, I stopped. Like, Liz was still enjoying it, but I stopped caring about the characters.
That's the problem, isn't it? If you're not engaged with it, it's almost like you're putting yourself through it just because. And why would you do that?
It basically, for me, it got to a point where, specifically, there was one character I thought, like, he's lost what I found him interesting for. Like, that's gone. Turned into a bit of a wet blanket. And there was perfect opportunities for him not to be in it anymore.
Right.
But because he was a really popular character, it felt like they kept him in just because people liked him.
Yeah.
There was a point where I was like, thank fuck, they got rid of it. And it's like, no, they haven't. And it's like, for fuck's sake, how did he escape that? Like, it's, one of those, like, I was just like, I don't care anymore.
I might just go to one of those websites that aggregates the best episodes to watch. Do you know what I mean? Like, there were ones for Star Trek, weren't there, that I pointed you to for the original series. Yeah. So I was like, don't watch all of the original series.
Yeah, the original series is like, cut out this, and this. It's not important. Okay, cool. But yeah, like The Walking Dead, like I say, definitely watch it because it is good. Like, it is, like, at points it's incredible. But for me, I lost interest. Like, you might carry on, you might really see something in it that I didn't. But
I mean,
I'm just waiting for a point now for you to text me and go, "Is it this person?" Like, just like trying to pinpoint who it is.
I'll definitely get round to it because I don't think I'm making the most of my Disney Plus subscription at the moment. Yeah. So I need to find things that are gonna.
Well, now they've added stuff that isn't Disney. Like, there's more for you to watch.
It's very true. I'm basically just there for Marvel and the occasional Pixar film.
Yeah. Have you watched any of the new ones, actually? Pixar, like Raya?
No, I haven't.
No, you've been quite busy. You've had a lot going on, but Raya and the Last Dragon, Luca, I really, really want to watch. Have you seen the fan art for Luca, which is Loki? It's like the Luca thing, but it's actually Loki. It's really
right.
Cute.
I can imagine it. I can imagine it because I know the premise of.
I think it's
Luca.
I think it's Loki and Sylvie riding on alligator Loki. I think. Spoilers. Everyone's seen the picture. But yeah, I really want to watch Luca, but I need to work myself up to it, I think, based on what everyone's saying.
Yeah.
I think it's a Pixar special, sort of, or a Disney special.
Yeah, I don't need to be watching anything like that right now.
No, not at all.
It might take me a couple of months to get around to actually getting to those.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've still got like basically 3.5 series of DS9 and then all 6 series of Voyager to get through. And then I'm going to have to get an Amazon Prime subscription to watch Picard as well for the 2 series that they've done.
Yeah, what about the cartoon, Star Trek cartoon?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know whether I'm that completist. It's like with the Star Wars stuff. Like, I watch The Mandalorian, but I'm not that bothered about the Bad Batch or Clone Wars or anything like that. I know that they would give me a deeper understanding of the wider universe, but do I really want a deeper understanding of the wider universe?
It's one of those things. Are you like Star Wars? Do you like Star Wars that much?
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Like I could watch the Clone Wars. I could watch Bad Batch. Like, because I do like amazing. Star Wars. And I like cartoons. Yeah. I like animated shows and things.
Talking about that, have you seen the trailer for the What If series?
No.
Then we'll watch that after the podcast.
Oh, we're going to do a reaction.
Yeah.
Video?
Because I've got nothing else.
We do love you. We really, really love you.
I just, yeah.
Yeah, no, mate, we're doing the spoiler. We wanted to do the spoiler cast, so.
Yeah,
but obviously
it's the hottest weekend of the year, and quite frankly, like, I want to get out in the sunshine.
Yeah, I've got 1 can of the Clockwork Tangerine left, and I think I've got a can of Elvis juice left.
Nice.
And then that's that box. Yeah, I ended up with drinking like 2 of those tangerines yesterday. It was weird. Like, so I know a few episodes ago we spoke about the fact that I got the Brewdog box.
Yeah.
Weirdly, like that Brewdog like episode. Like, there was a lot of reaction to that.
There was, yeah.
I got texts from people like, oh yeah, like, I agree with you, but have you seen it? Like, Loz messaged me, have you read this? I'm like, oh yeah, that's really shady.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's
really disappointing to read.
Like, their actual business philosophy is not brilliant.
Yeah, and you know that whole thing about them changing the name to Elvis, that big publicity thing. Apparently, that never actually happened. It was just something they said they did, and
right,
it's a bit shady, but they still make nice beer. There was another one I tried actually when I went to this wedding the other week, last weekend, the weekend before, last weekend.
Yes.
Yeah, last weekend. There was another local Curious brewery. That was a Curious IPA. That's really nice and a hell of a lot cheaper than the Brewdog.
Yeah.
Like, we went and I was like, I brought 3 drinks and I was like, oh, they've got Punk. Cool, I'll get some Punk IPA. And that's £18. And I was like, fuck, this is expensive. Ooh. And then someone brought another round. They brought 4 drinks. And the barmaid misheard and gave me a Curious IPA rather than a Punk IPA. And I think it was like £16 something. I was like, wait, why was it so much cheaper for 4 drinks? It's because for a bottle of Punk IPA, they were charging £5.
Yeah, they will do that.
So
and not a big bottle either. Like
no. The sort of 330.
The 330 one. Yeah.
Like, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that is the problem. I think it's because of the strength of it. It's like 5 and a bit, isn't it? Like, it's premium strength, basically.
Yeah, but the Curious was really nice though, so I just stuck with that for the end of it. But yeah, so I know. And then when we were talking about this Brewdog pack that I got for Father's Day, Tom was like, "I'll save that Clockwork Tangerine for like nicer weather." I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. I think I cracked one when we were watching one of the England games. I tried one of the Clockwork Tangerine and I'm like, oh yeah, this is quite nice.
Of course, that happened that nice as well in the last month.
Well, yeah, and I was like, oh, this is quite nice. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can see what he likes about it, but it's not that special. And then I had it yesterday in the sun, and I was like, it does hit different. It really hits different in the sun. Like, I don't know why that makes such a difference, but it does.
It's it's just, I think it's just because it's slightly citrusy. Anything citrusy is better in the sunshine. I don't know why that is.
I don't know. And the weird thing is, all of these brew dogs as well, I suppose because they're ale. I mean, are they lagers? They're ales, aren't they?
They're craft beers, if you like. They're ales. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I've been drinking them. They're not quite, but I don't know the difference, to be fair. But like, I'm not refrigerating them. I'm drinking them sort of like room temperature.
Okay.
I don't know if you're supposed to or not.
It doesn't. Nice. It doesn't really matter. In all honesty, lager needs to be chilled because warm lager tastes like piss.
Yeah.
like any lager, it doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
You can't convince me otherwise. Warm lager is awful.
Yeah,
but yeah, like ales and IPAs and stuff. IPAs are slightly, again, it's all preference, really. I don't mind a chilled IPA, but I wouldn't chill something like a London Pride or a
Nuki Brown?
brain fart.
Not Nuki Brown.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. I wouldn't, although they are kept in fridges in pubs. So,
yeah, I mean, like the first few cans I had, yes, I did chill them, but then basically because it was a fuck off great box of these beer, like I couldn't refrigerate all of them, so they just stayed in the box next to my chair where I sat when the England games were on. So I just kept reaching down to grab one. I'm like,
exactly,
like at room temperature.
And then I stood up and fell back down.
Not quite. I didn't drink that many in one go. No,
but it's doable. That's the problem. I tend to think that anything in a can should be refrigerated or can be refrigerated, but bottles are another. Yeah, I don't know. Like there's just weird personal rules about this concept.
Rules, not preferences. They're rules.
No, they are.
They're only rules for me.
Yeah. I wouldn't enforce them on anyone else.
But for me, they're rules. I have to follow them. Yeah. But I don't know why it tasted so much better yesterday than it did the other week when I had one. I don't know. Odd. But I suppose, do we talk about football? We did well.
Do you know what? Like, it's, like as much as I dislike the game but mostly the people that really, the supporters and the rabble rousing that they can get into
come out since the final.
The mob mentality that it instills in people, and this weird nationalistic bullshit that it instills in people, which you don't get in rugby or cricket or tennis or motor racing or any other type of. You don't get that in any other type of sport. But
the weird thing is, some of the supporters are sort of like crossover, but when it comes to football, they turn into
complete dickheads. Yeah. And worse in some cases. But no, what I didn't want to concentrate on the bad stuff from it because there's enough of that out there already. But
it's awful.
It was interesting actually to watch an England team, because I did watch every England match because Jo set up like a thing on Teams with her class, a year 8 class.
Oh yeah.
Because they had a sweepstake going on, and they had everyone put £1 in and drew a team. And so she decided that every England match she'd be on Teams, and then they'd chat in Teams and stuff, which was quite a nice idea. But it did mean that every England game was on in this house, and so some of them I took more notice of than others. But what I would say as a casual observer and a hater of the game is that this is the first time I've watched an England match in my life where they did something different. Yeah. Like, it wasn't just 4-4-2. It wasn't go ahead 1 goal and sit back. Well, it wasn't until the final anyway.
Yeah.
The final really, really boiled my piss because it looked like an England team of like yesteryear. They went ahead, they sat back, they conceded possession all over the shop. And then it went to penalties. And what happens when England take penalties? They fucking lose.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. There was much more playmaking in all the other matches.
Yeah.
More intricate kind of, tactics. And
it looked like they were playing to win.
Yeah. Yeah, which is not what you expect of England, is it?
No, and I think what I sports talk on ABH, who would have thought it? What I felt, Smokey, I love it. What I felt, what I noticed, I suppose, is they were attacking. So if like, for instance, in the Germany game, if Germany got the ball, like our defenders or even our midfielders and that, they were running at that. They weren't waiting for them to make a move and intercept. They were actually putting pressure.
Yeah, it was
on
more
on the
offensive.
other team while they were attacking. Yeah, they were putting pressure on them. They weren't giving them the chances. when they had the ball and they were surrounded, they weren't panicking and just hoofing the ball trying to clear it. They were actually trying to escape. They were looking for somebody close, like they were looking for someone close to them that they could pass to. They weren't just hoofing it up the field and losing the ball. Like you say, they were making more. They were playmaking. They were actually playing the game rather than sort of panicking and resting on their laurels. Yeah, they were looking for chances and stuff. And it's hard when it's like that. I sat down to watch the first game. I was like, here we go. What's going to happen? And I was like, oh shit. And like you start to get into it and you start to get taken in by the sort of the whole spectacle of it. And I really, really, really enjoyed it. And yes.
Well, it actually felt positive, didn't it? That's the thing. Like it felt like, oh, actually,
it might be.
England could win this.
It might be coming home.
Oh, God.
You don't get dragged in by that.
I fucking hate that. I hate it.
That phrase, yeah.
Yeah. Because it's about the Jules Rimet and it's about the World Cup, and this ain't the fucking World Cup, so fuck off with it. Like,
sorry, mate.
And equally, it's not the Jules Rimet that they play for these days anyway.
No.
It's a completely different cup.
No, I mean, to be fair,
I know that football is coming home.
Yeah. But
also, if I never hear fucking Sweet Caroline again, it will be great. Like listening to podcasts at the moment, one of the betting websites is sponsoring every podcast ever. Yeah. And it is fucking on every advert break on every podcast, and I am fucking done with that song.
I didn't realize that was going to happen when I said that. I'm glad it did. But I completely...
No, I started to believe that they would probably win. Like there was a point where I was like, well, it's likely. And then it's...
Not after the Scotland game.
No. But every other game, and then as soon as they went 1-0 up against the Italians in the final...
dread.
That like the dynamic shifted, and it was like watching that kind of just defensive, really shit on the ball, and you just knew. I wanted Italy to score,
to put one,
a second, so that it didn't go to penalties, because penalties, I fucking hate penalties. I think it's an awful way to. I know it has to happen. But I think it's an awful way to settle a score.
Sure, because it should go to golden goal, but like, how long is that going to last?
How long? Yeah, exactly.
I do get that side of it, but
I just hate watching penalty shootouts. I think it's so stressful. And,
it is. It's unfair on the people. There's been a lot of shit and hate going around about those penalties. On the one hand, it's like it does take a hell of a lot to sort of step up and take those penalties.
Yeah.
But if you're going to take the penalty, don't fuck about. Just take the penalty. There's only one penalty that really pissed us off. And, and our house was blue with his name when he did that. But, and it's not for like the rest of the hate that fucking is going on. It's just like, why do that? Like, I understand
showboating,
they're sort of like, oh, am I going to like? I understand why, because like they were explaining after the fact is he does that so he gets some indication of which way the goalkeeper's going to go.
Yeah, but there are rules about that kind of thing, and I think that they should be tightened up more. I don't think you should be able to fuck about like that. And it's the same with the keepers.
They're not allowed to do what they, that thing they do with the free kick where they sort of run at the ball, stop, and then run again. I don't think they're allowed to do that with penalties, which is why they do that weird sort of shuffle run sort of thing. As soon as that happened, because we thought oh my god, we saved the Italian goal. This is it. We could actually win it on penalties. This is weird. What's going on? But then that penalty happened, and I was like, oh no, here we go.
And then they sent up a 19-year-old, and you're like,
the last goal. I think
the 19-year-old is never going to have the head to keep calm.
So much pressure for them. But I think the order is decided before. Yes. But why would you put the 19-year-old to take the fifth penalty? I think they were hoping. I think they were hoping that it would never come to him having to take the penalty, or it would be even so it wouldn't matter, or we'd be ahead, so it wouldn't matter so much. It's a shame.
Yeah,
it's a real shame for him because
especially Gareth Southgate as well. You know, like you should fucking know who's gonna bottle it and who's not. But
seeing how they came together afterwards, seeing how the country has responded to all of the hate, I think it's been amazing. Like there's this whole thing where if you see any of this racist hate towards them, like somebody has set up a website where you report it, and then that website will look for their employers and then send it to their employers and shit like that, which I think is right. I think we should, because if somebody was caught shouting that in the street, if somebody was caught shouting that in the street and the police overheard it, that person would be arrested and they would be fined or put in jail. It shouldn't be allowed online. Like, lose your job, fucking lose your job. Get it. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, there's no need for it. And there shouldn't be a place in society for that kind of thing. No. And these people deserve everything they get coming to them. Yeah, basically. I understand being pissed off. We were pissed off with him because of the way you're pissed off, but you never but there was a part of me, right? Even on the night, I was like, I know what's coming. Yeah, like I just knew it because it was like, well, who missed the penalties? Yeah, but of course, had they won the shootout, they'd have been heroes. Yes, exactly, and that's the double standard, isn't it? Yeah, like. But I love seeing like the reaction. Like there's that mural of him in Manchester. It is Sterling, isn't it? Marcus Rashford. Was it Rashford? They're the two that have been They're the two that have been in the news so much, and I'm like, I can never remember which one. Like Rashford is the one with the big mural, the big black mural on the side of the building that was defaced. They're the two that have done the most like charity work, so I can never remember which one did which. But Rashford, that big mural of him in Manchester, where somebody fucking defaced it essentially, like racist hate, and then people had just come fucking stuck like notes of support and shit over the top of it, and I think it's brilliant, amazing. Yeah, absolutely. And then, like, there's huge murals of them everywhere, and there's loads of billboards. Basically, like, we win together, we lose together, we stick together. Like that billboard that's going up everywhere, just in support of them, because next year we have got the World Cup, and this is the team that's going to be doing it. What way? It was. Fuck. And that's the thing. Like, it's such a young team that they're only going to get better, and they're going to be able to take that experience away and learn from it. And you never know, the World Cup could go differently. We got into the final. This is like, it's the first ever major European or World Cup final that the England team has been in since 1966. Which is insane. There was that extra pressure as well. So last time we reached the final, we won it. Like, there's that added pressure. Whereas now they've got to a final. They've been in the final. They've got that experience. Yeah. They'll know what they've done wrong. They'll know what the mistake was. Italy were a much better team, but thankfully, I think that's probably the last competition for that Italian side, because I think that Italian side were much older. Yeah, they were. Yeah, especially that fucker who dragged Saka down by his throat, who shouldn't have been on the field. No, he looked older than us, but he's only 34 or something, or 33. He looked like he's in his 50s. Prick, absolute prick. The way he did that, and that fucking smug looking referee who doesn't even need to be there. Like, he's got money, he doesn't need that job. What was that all like? People were really like bashing that guy because he's a successful businessman. It's like, well, all right, but I know, but he doesn't need to be there. Why not? No. He doesn't need to be there. None of those sports people need to be there. They're all multi-millionaires. Like, to be fair. That. No, I'll get that, but it's just that bitterness. It's like the fact that he was like really smug. He didn't seem to. A lot of the decisions seemed to go against England, especially like that particular one. just takes the piss. Like that referee was right there. He was right there when he grabbed his shirt.
But equally, the other problem with football is that, bad practices on the pitch are encouraged from a very early age.
Yeah.
So diving and hacking are parts of the game, which I think is fucking abhorrent.
Yes.
And they are drilled into you from the junior leagues.
Yeah.
And also, they're the last major sport, despite being the richest in this country, that took up VAR.
Yes.
Like for years and years and years, cricket and tennis have had Hawkeye.
Yeah.
That can
rugby have had VAR for God knows how long.
Years.
Yeah.
And despite the fact that football has all the money, the beautiful game can't be slowed down.
Yeah.
And you're like, but now that they've got it, they don't use it in all situations.
Yeah.
And they should have used it then.
The thing is, I don't feel like they needed to because the referee was right there.
Yeah.
And it's only the referee that can decide whether to go to VAR or not. And now he's decided that didn't need VAR. It didn't need calling up because blah. And even if you use the excuse that the ball was already out of play, so that foul was out of play time, it's like that doesn't matter because if one of the managers or the coaches, as they're called now, start shouting abuse at the ref can send them to the locker room.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't matter. He, regardless of like any of that, there's no way that was faked. There's no way that was a dive. He literally grabbed him by the scruff of the neck on his t-shirt and yanked him to the floor. That should have been an instant red card as far as I'm concerned. Which is that, and that's where I'm like, and that ref don't even need to be there because, like, obviously that sort of decision, which is quite obvious, was in favour of Italy to just ignore that. And then he's got that smug look on his face. And it's like, well, you don't even need to fucking be there. Like, do you know, regardless, he can be, but it's that side of things. It's like, you're a prick, mate.
Yeah.
He just had that smug look on his face. I just didn't like him. It's just that I'm the ref. I'll do what I want. But yeah, the diving and shit. I don't think I saw as much of that. There still was some of it. I think the new thing now is like when you look at players like Jack Grealish, who unfortunately wasn't played as much as he could have been, but that's apparently because he's not 100% fit. But every time he came on the pitch, the one with the hair, he completely changed. He completely changed the game when he came on the pitch. Now he doesn't dive, but he knows how to win decisions. So he will put himself in a position where he will get fouled. Yeah. So, which again, that is also on the line of so questionable. You're not playing the game.
But I find that more sportsmanship.
Yeah.
Though. Like that is putting yourself in a position where they have no option but to.
Yes. And then it gives you a set play.
That is different in a way in my own mentality. Because the thing is, in all sports, you're always trying to win in whatever way you can that's within the rules just about. But I think diving is fucking abhorrent. Yeah. Whereas putting yourself in a position is more tactical.
I suppose because your opposition still need to make the decision to foul.
Exactly.
I suppose it's like playing drop shots or slicing the ball when you're playing tennis or playing just beyond the net. You're trying to force an error. Yeah, that's exactly it. And forcing an error is more strategic and more sportsmanlike than throwing. You're forcing the opposition to make a decision. Like, are you going to foul me and try and get away with it, or are you going to let me do, or are you just going to hold me here and force me to do something? I suppose. And
there are a lot of more kind of like tackles that I saw where in the past people would have gone over,
and they're not now.
Where they're now trying to battle through that to win the ball again, which I think is, that's great because that's what you should be doing.
I suppose that is a product of bringing VAR into it because it's kind of like if the ref isn't sure, he's going to check VAR to see if that was a foul or not, and I can get punished for it.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you're then kind of if your name is marked as someone who dives, then every decision past that is going to be like, well, you fell over. you die.
Yeah, it's gonna go against you. Yeah.
It's possibly.
So it's becoming a bit more watchable for you now.
This tournament was. I mean, I'm not going to start watching it on a
not going to be a religious.
But,
yeah. I'm not going to pick a team.
No.
But no, international competitions definitely. I've all for God knows how many years now. That's all I will watch.
I think this is the first international tournament that I've watched all England games, all of them, since probably France '98.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't have time for the game. I don't like it.
Yeah.
And there was no point watching England past Michael Owen.
And
David Beckham. Like no one. Like I the first game that I watched this year, I was like, well, I know Marcus Rashford because of the news. And
I know him, but not because of the game. I know him because of what he's done.
And I recognised maybe one other person, but again, probably because of charity work.
To be fair, we were looking at the lineup and again, sort of like Raheem Sterling, Marcus Rashford, they're names I know. I wouldn't know them to look at them.
No.
So when it was going through the lineup, I was like, there's Harry Kane.
Yeah, that's the guy. I was like, I know his face.
Who are the rest of them? That was literally it. It's like, there's Harry Kane. That's the only one I knew by sight.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I know this name and I know that name and I know that name. I couldn't tell you which one of those they are, but I recognise him. But now, since watching it, I was like Harry Maguire, amazing, amazing defender. It's so weird. And what's even weirder is that we've now spent about half an hour talking about football.
Yeah, I mean that in itself is.
But yeah, we'll turn into a sports podcast.
But it shows, doesn't it, that like I say, I have absolutely zero interest in the game, and really in England as well. Like I don't care because more than anything else, it's the horrific nature of the fans that I find abhorrent, and I don't want to support a sport that promotes that kind of feeling in people, and the diving and the blatant cheating, and clearly there's less of that.
Yeah. The thing that boggles my mind as well is every single game of this competition, right before the start, before the starting whistle, England took the knee to battle against racism.
Yeah.
As a mark against racism.
And in those early games, they got booed for it.
What was the first? I think it was once, and I think did they take the knee during the national anthem? I didn't watch the group stages, but I'm not sure if that's why they booed. So then they start. I may be wrong, but there was definite booing when they took the knee against racism because we're bringing politics in. It's not fucking politics; it's human nature. It's just common decency. But yeah, they took the knee before every single game, and yet when the competition ended, when we lost on penalties, the first thing that happened was this barrage of racist comments on Twitter and Instagram. It's like, did you not understand?
I don't think you'll ever take racism out of football because it's watched by fucking thugs.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. The problem is the fans.
And
it's not the majority. It's not the majority.
No. That's right. Yeah. But they're the overbearing. That's the
loudest minority. Yeah.
That's it. But as always.
But there, like we've said, I've been to football matches in the past, and I've seen quite kind of docile, normal people turn into raging freaks.
Yeah.
Because one man in black has made a decision against the 11 people that they are there to watch.
Yeah,
and you're like, all of a sudden this guy's screaming, red faced, and you're like, well, why? Why are we that? Why are you that?
Passionate, not even passionate. Why are you that angry about it?
Yeah,
I suppose.
I watch sport for the sport.
Yeah,
I often don't really care who wins.
Yeah,
I like to watch. Whether it's an individual sport, two people playing each other and outclassing each other. That's what I love about tennis. Is that it's two people battling against each other, and the crowd gets behind both players.
That Wimbledon final.
Mate,
it's incredible.
Yeah,
absolutely incredible.
But equally, I think because the Wimbledon final was on the same day as the Euros final, that's why it was pushed back. That's why people got absolutely plastered before that game. Had that game been played at 4:00 in the afternoon, wouldn't have been as much trouble.
I don't think so. Yeah,
they allowed everyone to just get out there and get absolutely hammered. And the reason, obviously, that the Euros is on after Wimbledon is because of sponsorship and ad rights and revenue. And that's it was a
and there was that horrific start at the start of the England match when they were letting people in. Those people without tickets just barging their way through security, trying to get in.
The fucking entitlement on those people. Like, when would you ever go anywhere expecting to be let in if it's a ticketed event and you don't have a ticket? When would you ever go anywhere?
Yeah, and speaking of that as well, like Harry Maguire, his dad, I think, went to watch every game, and he said, "Thank fuck that because usually what would happen was his dad would take his daughter, like Harry Maguire's daughter, to the game, and she would be on his shoulders walking to their seats. And like his dad actually got mowed down and trampled by this crowd. Like he didn't know before the game. He said, but thank fuck that his daughter wasn't with his dad for the final, like she would have been normally. Otherwise she would have been on his shoulders and would have got fucking knocked over as well. And these people didn't have a ticket. These people hadn't had their negative tests and shit like that. They just decided that there was time to go in. Not that they would have made a difference, because practically everyone that went to Wembley that day, surprisingly enough, has now tested positive for coronavirus. Weird, right?
Yeah. This is
a
the
full
thing,
capacity unmasked event.
And Silverstone, I mean, it's outdoors. It's over like a 40-acre site, but there's 140,000 people there this weekend. Yeah.
To put it into context, last weekend I went to a wedding when there was 45 people. Someone tested positive, so we all got self-isolate now, everyone that was there. Just to put it into context, that was like 40 to 50 people. Yeah. This is 60,000 at Wembley. This is 140 at Silverstone. Yeah. You know, like exponentially, we're fucked.
I've got gigs to look forward to in August and September. I've got gigs I want to play, and I have a horrible fucking feeling that September's off.
Yeah, it's awful because obviously after tomorrow, pubs, there's no capacity limits. People are allowed up to the bar. You don't have to give a negative test. You don't even have to check in. You don't have to wear a mask.
Yeah. It's the Wild West.
Yeah. Like I don't know what I'd do. I'd wear a mask. That doesn't protect me. That protects everyone else.
Yeah.
I would still wear a mask.
I'm going to get my second jab tomorrow.
Oh, nice. I would get there, do the sound check. I would fuck off until it's showtime. I would then come back, play the gig, pack up and fuck off. Like, I don't think I'd stick around. I probably would. I'm saying that. I'd probably get drawn in by the fucking.
It's annoying. Like the one, especially the one in London, we're playing with the guy who used to play with the Prodigy. And I want to stick around and watch him.
Yeah.
And
but it's hard not to be shitting yourself, essentially.
Yeah. In August, I think, like the first one, we're just playing in Ian's back garden. That's fine. That's controllable. That's mostly people that are older.
Yeah, a bit more responsible. Yeah.
Then the next day, we're playing in a pub in Chatham. And then I think we're playing in the Red Lion over at Gravesend towards the end of August. And then,
is this Swamp Stomper gigs? Or a bit of both?
No, it's all Swamp Stomper.
Oh, nice.
Mainly because we were left in the lurch by one of the guitarists recently.
True,
not really sure what's going on with that. Past Ian's birthday party, we're going to play as a 3-piece. Don't know about that. But I mean, to be honest,
you've got Swamp Stomper now. You've got
High Frequency.
Yeah, there you go. Good point. Yeah. Oh yeah, there's that.
And the songs that we are playing are more to my taste anyway.
Yeah,
really. So
I need to send you a couple of tracks actually, because I've seen some really good sort of like covers of contemporary songs recently.
Yeah, please do, because I'm less. I have my finger less on the pulse of what is out there at the moment. Yeah. I think we need to have a couple of newer ones that are actually like contemporary. Yeah,
ones that none of us actually know. but other people will. But it's it's so worrying because now you're saying about that, I'm thinking like, oh yeah, we're going on holiday next month, which means we're going to be in an unrestricted airport on an unrestricted plane. I would assume I'm still going to wear a mask because I don't know, for the whole flight it's going to be tricky.
It's only a couple of hours though, isn't it?
Yeah, it may, and to be fair, it may be necessary. I don't know what the airlines are doing at the minute.
No, I wouldn't know. But
thankfully we're going to like an all-inclusive holiday, so it's not going to be lots of just fucking rowdy. It's I got a drink, I'm going to sit by the pool and drink it. That'll do me.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, it was a bit weird going back, like being at the wedding, but it was quite nice. It was really nice, sort of like having that little element of normalcy, but then it's sort of been tarred by this having to now self-isolate. And I think the weird thing is like Liz only has to self-isolate until like she can go back out into the world on Wednesday. I've got to wait till Thursday.
Why is that?
I don't know. My phone might have.
Right.
We didn't check in. It was the contact tracing. So I would highly recommend having the contact tracing turned on.
I always do.
The Bluetooth, because like we didn't check in, but thankfully the person who tested positive has the app and managed to register it.
Right.
So they came close to us at some point. My phone picked up on it and was like, oh shit. Right, cool. Like brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I feel it's the only thing is the notification wasn't like I just happened to spot it in my thing. I didn't hear the ping, but that may have been because I was in bed and asleep at the time it came through. But I noticed it in there, and it said 8 days. So
good fun.
Thankfully I'm working from home. It's fine. I can go back to my office is open up again tomorrow, so people are back into the office. My manager was like, please don't, Anthony, because you're self-isolating. I was like, yeah, that's cool. I wouldn't, because I don't want to lose my job.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, the what we're seeing from the behaviors that people are displaying at the moment is, I hope it's just a short-term thing, because they've been cooped up in their houses, not able to go to the pub and get absolutely fucking wrecked for a year and a half. But I just feel like, I think we've said this for a while now, it's like the actual anxiety is going to be the opening up. There's going to be more anxiety around that. And
I think I'm just more anxious about how people are going to behave when they're out and about. Like
because you can't control strangers.
I'm not scared about going into town because I can decide, like going shopping. I can be wearing a mask. I can decide, no, it's too busy, I'm going home.
Exactly.
But, like if you're going to meet your mates at the pub, I don't know, mate. I don't know.
I used to hate being in pubs, and there was that one pissed up person anyway, because you know that they're going to come over and talk to you at some point, because they're talking to every other fucker in that pub.
With their fucking spit just flying. And the worst thing is, that person going to come over, the fucking vaccine. You're like, great.
Okay. Looks like I'm staying indoors for 2 weeks then, you can't.
I'm not too fussed about, like, this whole anti-vax movement and getting pissed off at people. Like, I think I said it to Andrew. I'm like, I don't care. I feel anymore. I feel like it's a bit of Darwinism now, isn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly.
The only person they're endangering by not getting the vaccine is themselves.
Yeah. I mean, you can still get this thing with the vaccine. It's not a cure. It's a preventative measure that stops you from dying when you contract it.
The only thing is, like, I wear my mask to protect people that can't get the vaccine. I didn't get the vaccine to protect those people. I got the vaccine to protect myself. I wear a mask to protect the people that can't. So that pissed up dickhead, not getting the vaccine doesn't bother me, because that's Darwinism. What pisses me off more is that if he's not wearing a mask where he's supposed to. Yeah. But the fact now I can't even get pissed off about that, because it's not really mandatory after tomorrow. Yeah,
this is it. Despite the fact that the scientists are all saying, well, it probably should be.
You probably should still wear your mask. And the thing that pisses me off, and it did, like, I know we said a couple of months ago, like, it seems like the government are doing this properly now with the easing, and they're pushing it back because, the numbers are rising, so they're pushing it back. The fact is, where they got to the last bit and Boris pushed it back and went, and we're definitely not going to push it back past the 19th. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Because
I don't want to be unpopular.
So now he has to open it up tomorrow, because he said he guarantees that they're not going to delay it any longer than tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like he said that like a few, like, what's it, like 6 weeks ago now. He said they're not going to push it past July 19th. And it's like, if he hadn't have said that, with the way the numbers have been rising, he would have pushed it back. But the fact he said he guarantees he won't, it just pisses me off. And the fact is, like, the last speech that I heard him, he said, like, it's inevitable, more people are going to die because of this, but we can't afford to. And it's like, excuse me.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally came out and said the economy is more important than lives. Like, we
and
already
literally,
knew
like,
that you thought that.
Yeah.
But you've actually said it now.
The whole way along, like, ever since the day fucking one has been about herd immunity and not locking down. And then he was forced to lock down and develop a vaccine. And now, because we've got the vaccine and the danger is less because fewer people are dying despite more people, being infected. He's got his golden ticket now. He can go ahead with the plan that he had originally, which is herd immunity. But
less people are going to die, but people are still going to die.
Yeah, the inevitability of people dying is.
I saw a screenshot on Twitter the other day that we're top of the list for infections. Per day.
Because if you look at those graphs again, it's gone straight back up to where it was in January.
Yeah, number of infections, or
December,
was inevitable. The number of infections, hospitalizations gradually creeping up. Not quite as quick as they did, but they're getting there.
But the fact that more than 50
is going to mutate because
the fact that more than 50 people a day are dying is still nuts.
It's still too many.
But then I suppose, playing devil's advocate, more people are getting knocked down on the roads every day. More people are being,
That's stupidity.
Exactly, but this comes back to it, isn't it? This is, but yeah. I mean, unless of course they're anti-vaxxers, then
it's fine. Not that we want people to die.
No, but if anyone's going to,
yeah. But the anti-vaxxers, it's a choice they have made. Like I said, it is preventable. They're choosing not to prevent it.
Comes back to diving or putting yourself in a position.
It's their own fault. Exactly. They've made a choice. They're daring the coronavirus to do its job, and whether it gets away with it or not.
Yeah, and to bring the whole podcast back in a big circle, I'm going back to music and death. Man who built guitar from dead uncle's skeleton. Now,
what?
Yeah, this is a guy who's built a guitar called the Philip Skelecaster. Because I assume that his uncle.
Is Philip his name, or is it his uncle's name?
I assume it was his uncle. After a lengthy diplomatic process led to the repatriation of his late uncle Philip's skeleton from Greece, YouTuber Prince Midnight decided to create a crazy, fully functioning electric guitar from his relatives' remains. You probably don't need reminding. In fact, you probably don't remember it at all very well. Nevertheless, context is necessary for what's about to come next, because Prince Midnight, armed with his one-of-a-kind axe, is back. Now, he hasn't added to his boutique collection of bone-based electric guitars, but he has put the original Skelecaster through its paces in an all-new single called Demon Soul Caress, which arrives with unapologetically haunting performance video.
Mate, that's fucking grim.
It's pretty grim, yes.
He couldn't have done that with like a resin skeleton, like it had to be a real skeleton, did it?
Apparently so.
This is a long way off of the fucking Cornwall Paul and his PlayStation fucking guitar, isn't it?
So the biggest challenge was making it playable. The hardest part about building an instrument is contracting it in a way that it will stay in tune. You have to strum inside the rib cage, and you can only strum as wide as the ribs will allow.
Mm-hmm. I can see. Nah,
you looked.
It's kind of making me feel a bit.
It's horrible, isn't it?
Queasy.
Why the fuck would you do that? Oh wait, the views.
Yeah, as soon as you said YouTube, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But Whoa, that's so grim.
Yeah. The world is still nuts. We're still trying to make head nor tail of it. That is what Anywhere But Here is about. So until next time, my name has been Tom.
My name's been Anne, and it still is after this, actually, in fact.
Why did we say it like that?
I don't know.
Get it. Bye.